Because of my passion for online entrepreneurship and in believing the impact we can make if we can all discover our purpose and do what we love, the Passion and Purpose podcast was born. I hope to share more inspiring adventures with you, along with the people who have been there and done that.
You, Jess. Hi, everyone. Welcome to season number 2, episode 1 of the Passion and Purpose podcast. And I'm so excited to announce that I have my very dear friend Jessica Madrazo today as our special guest. Of course, Jessica is also known as the Digital Davaoeña, and she has over 13 years of experience in digital marketing. And being the ultimate raketera, she functions as the operations director of Coffeebot Solutions, marketing manager of Onlinejobs.ph, the very popular online jobs platform here in the Philippines, and also as a digital jobs trainer under the Department of Information, Communications, and Technology. She also is a co-founder and trainer of Access Ed, CMO of TravelAccess, and digital marketing consultant for different companies in the Philippines and worldwide. Wow, Jessica, how are you today?
Hi, Roche. I'm good. Thank you for inviting me.
I am so excited to have you here today. So, Jess, can you please tell me how you got started as the digital Davaoeña, or how you start to discover your passion?
Um, I started like everyone else. So I was working for a company. It was one of the first outsourcing companies here in Davao. I was back then a writer and a virtual assistant. So I was their first writer and the first virtual assistant. And then I was tasked to write an ebook about sort of like the marriage of online marketing and offline marketing. So I'm
Wow.
not sure if that book is still out there. So that was my main introduction to the world. But when it comes to working online, while I was working for the same company, I was also referred by a colleague of mine. I was referred to the owner of Onlinejobs.ph, John Jonas. So that was when everything started. So that was 13, 14 years ago.
Wow. And then what happened when you were transferred, or when you took the job with
Mhm.
onlinejobs.ph? What are the things that you discovered about yourself, about, your passion in the online industry?
Well, I already knew that I really liked writing. It was one of the reasons why he got my services. But what I wasn't expecting was that I would be also tasked to like make websites. I was introduced to SEO and all of the other um, online strategies. Back then, I knew nothing. So I learned HTML from scratch. I think that was one of the things that I really learned, that I really love technology. The things that came easy for me wasn't exactly easy for everyone else, just because I really liked learning it. My background, I graduated um, with a course of AB English. So it was totally non-tech. But before that, I was really convincing my mom to enroll me in a technology related course because I read from a magazine that tech was the future. And I guess that magazine wasn't lying. So I still ended up in the industry. So even if you try to avoid what your supposed destiny is, I guess, eventually you go back to that path.
Nice, nice. It's like someone is calling you, to
Yeah,
be in the
yeah.
industry. I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I was also starting, I started as a content writer, and social media manager for a realtor, and I was only writing at that time, and I don't like websites because I thought that websites really something that is only for those who are really into tech, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
techie as well, and I didn't realize that I would also learn how to create websites and something like that. So we have something in common on that part. Now, you said that um you were learning the technology and you were enjoying it. And then
Mm-hmm.
how um when did the realization came from, like, that you like what you're doing and you wanted to pursue, and you have an advocacy, something like that?
Um, so because I was still young, I had a lot of energy. So I still stayed in different companies, back then, the term virtual assistant didn't even exist yet. So we just called
Yeah.
it telecommuting. Those jobs were just telecommute jobs. And a lot of people didn't understand it. My mom didn't understand it. And so I was forced to keep a day job
Ooh.
and then just do those things on the side. And while I was doing it, I guess I was still bored. So I still had a lot of other activities outside of work, even with two jobs. So I was also volunteering for a lot of organizations, a lot of activities, everything that I can do. So I slowly built passions around it. And I also started joining different organizations and even holding positions in those organizations just because I was really happy doing it.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And two jobs. How are you managing it? Two 8-hour jobs?
Well, like I said, I realized I was good at certain things because I'm able to finish my work faster. And so it didn't really take up the entire eight
Like entire
hours
eight
for
hours.
each
Uh-huh.
job. Yeah, because especially if I'm in the mood, it's really really easy for me to finish even like 8 articles. Although back then, the internet only required 300 to 400 words,
Yeah.
so I was able to finish a lot in a short period of time.
Wow, I'm amazed. 300, 400 words, 8 articles a day.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I was, age. I was very very hyper back then.
Yeah, and then how did you realize that that is your passion and you really wanted, to grow in the industry?
I didn't really think of it as my passion. I think our generation, we weren't really in search of passions. We just did what we wanted to do. We kept on doing things that we liked to do, and we didn't really call it a passion. It's just I like doing this and I like doing that. And those are some of the things that I do, but I also have other things on the side. That's
Yeah,
how
no
we
label.
did it before, yeah. So it didn't really have a label. I just uh did that a lot, and I got known for those things. So even in my other organizations, I was also always pleased. I won awards in those organizations. So I was with JCI. So our projects did win awards. And so every time they had like a new advocacy, um, I was assigned to it. I think one of the reasons why that is so is because my background, my family is also very into advocacies. So like my my late uncle and my aunt, they're with nonprofit organizations. So I guess I didn't notice that I was picking up a lot of things. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I knew what to do whenever there were challenges. And one of the organizations that I was with also placed me in a lot of trainings, a lot of seminars. And, I was able to pick up a lot of things that were really, really useful and not a lot of people were also very familiar with. Because I really like when you're doing advocacies, it's very easy to get emotional and
Yeah.
you think everyone else has the same passion. But I like the realistic point of view that was presented to me, which was, the energy that you have for certain passions, they die eventually, especially when you get tired, because people get burnt out. And even if you do have enough energy, the people around you eventually will also get burned out because it's just a passion project. You're not paid for it. There's no added motivation except that it makes you feel good. So once that feel good stops, then the support also stops. And so I like the concept of when you're in these kinds of advocacies, you either uh, learn to really work smart, not just for yourself, but also for the team that's behind you, the people who are supporting you, the people who are donating to your project. You have to make sure that they also get something in return. Maybe not. So most of the time, it's not monetary, but they have to get something that's really beneficial, that really benefits them.
Wow. That's something. It's really true that, sometimes you get tired, you get demotivated with just everything that's happening around you.
Yeah.
Um, but then my question is, when did you discover? Because you mentioned something earlier that because you're not getting paid for it. When
Yes.
when did you start getting paid for what you like doing, for what you advocate for?
I have to be honest, it took years for me to get paid to do these things, the things that I used to do. So if I can, I'm not sure if I can list down all of the advocacies that I was doing. So I worked with projects um, and climate change. So I attended the climate reality training by Al Gore. So that's one, the environment. So I'm invited to speak in those in different events. Uh, and that really taught me a lot. Um, Local arts. So I was also one of the founders of like an organization here in Davao that promoted local arts. There's also I've worked with anti-human trafficking. So that was with MTV Exit. Apart from that, I have smaller projects with different organizations. So, for example, Echo Bricks. So we also had that pilot project that we started in JCI. I wasn't the chair. It was Liz, a friend of mine as well, but I also supported that. And then, of course, um, internet literacy. So that's also one. So I've worked with those projects as a volunteer for years. Okay. I'm not going to
Wow.
lie. I'm not going to say that it took me 1 year and then I started getting paid. So I was just doing all of those in the background. And then, reality kicks in. So I wasn't able to really participate in those things that much, especially when Coffeebot started, because when you run a company and you have so many people counting on you, the hobbies get cut down. But then lately, I've been realizing that I've been getting a lot of inquiries related to that. So it was really just recently. So like I said, years, probably like 7, 10 years later, because those things that I did for fun, um, organizations, especially the advocacy niche, they're used to their projects being just advocacy projects. So once there was a challenge of hiring someone or working with a company that had to do specific responsibilities because they were actually paid for this already, they were looking for people who could do that, but had to be passionate about the advocacy. So that's when I started becoming attractive to them, because advocacy projects are just so different from, products and services.
Yeah.
So years, Roche, it took years.
That is something that everyone, our listeners right now, or the ones that are watching us right now, they need to realize that it's not easy to like build a portfolio. What you
Mhm.
did unknowingly, you were building a portfolio that you can use in the future for future paid projects, and it's not
Yeah.
easy. 7, 10 years, building that
Yeah.
portfolio.
It took me that long because uh, the internet wasn't that popular back then. In my case, and organizations weren't really looking for at that time. But now it's becoming a niche.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very lucky because I used to search for my name. I used to Google myself long before it was a trend, because I don't know, instinctively I just wanted to control um my reputation online. And so, if this part was missing, I would write articles about it, and I'm very lucky because I know how to make
You know how
content.
to write. Yeah.
Yes. So I was constantly adding those advocacies into my LinkedIn. I added it to my website, not really expecting anything. I just wanted people to know who I was. So uh, that's why I said that these projects, they just came to me. I wasn't really looking for them. And accepting these projects really made me happy, because it kind of brings me back to my volunteer days, except this time I get paid
Yeah, a
to
lot.
do things. Yeah.
Yeah, please tell them about Tayo Alerto and how you got reconnected because of the previous volunteer jobs that you did.
Yeah. So I mentioned that I worked with MTV Exit years ago. They needed a contact in Davao to help them organize concerts. They had like a series of concerts all over the Philippines. So because they were targeting the youth, they had to create events which were attractive to the youth while spreading the awareness of human trafficking. And because at that time, I was working on my other project, which was the local arts. So I was familiar with concerts, the different artists, not really big concerts, Rosha. We're in Davao.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I did those events and then uh, so they found me online because we had a website and they approached me asking for my help. So it was still help back then. I was able to work with that organization, MTV Exit. It was an international organization. And then months ago, this person emailed us telling us that they were a consultant for a certain organization that was promoting the awareness or was spreading awareness on human trafficking, and they were asking for our rates, what we could do, requested a call, and so we did that. And then I realized when I checked my LinkedIn that I was able to work with her before. So I mentioned that I think we were able to work before. I just didn't know this because there were so many people back then. Um, so it was quite a coincidence. So I think it was really one of the reasons why she chose our company, aside from being located in Mindanao, because Tayo Alerto, the project that we eventually got, it's supposed to spread awareness on human trafficking in different parts of Mindanao. And because we were in Mindanao, that's one point, and I was already involved in different advocacy projects. So I think that really convinced her um, to get us as their service provider for this.
Yeah, that one is very exciting. Imagine something that you did long time ago, will come back as a
Yeah.
paid project right now without you even have to, without you marketing.
Mhm.
You know what? They found you, and you said they found you through the website. How effective was the website for you?
Lately, my personal website has been really, really effective, surprisingly, when it comes to picking up clients because I've actually just revamped it, and I added all of the items that were in my LinkedIn, including the volunteer work, because normally we don't add that on our
Yeah.
career sites, right? And so I did add it in, the different non-work trainings that um I went through, the different projects that I did, even the volunteer ones. And so I think when they come from my corporate site, which is Coffeebot, caffeinerobot.com, and then they try to look for who are the people behind it, and they end up on my website, and that's when they realize that we really have background on this, and that it makes the website attractive to them. So it's really more of the information. I don't have photos there of my projects. I don't. I just listed down all of the projects and the advocacies that I volunteered for, and that's it.
Which got me thinking, I also have an advocacy page on my website.
You do, you
So
do.
that means I'm on the right track.
Yeah, yeah.
I just have to add the cooperative there, by the way. I think it's
Yes, you
missing the
should, you should.
cooperative part.
Mm.
Wow. Right. So we're learning a lot. Thank you so much, Jess, for sharing your story. Because not a lot of people realize how effective a website is, especially adding the advocacy part, because these are the things that they thought that they're just doing for fun or out of hobby or out of advocacy. And for you, you managed to transform an advocacy, a passion, into a paid project. What else
Mhm.
are we waiting from Jessica Madrazo in the years to come? Because you seem to have grown 13 years in the industry, and I don't know, I'm so excited just to get to know what are the plans that you have in mind.
Um, Working with advocacies, it comes with different challenges. So while you enjoy it, I'm not a one-man team. I'm managing a team, which means I also have to pay them. So I realize that not a lot of organizations, this is real talk. We cannot volunteer I cannot volunteer their time
Yeah.
just to promote a cause, and expect them to be okay with not getting paid. That being said, I know that a lot of organizations can't really afford to hire my services. In fact, I do have certain people who have already approached me, and they really just can't afford to get our service. And it really makes me sad. I think I've mentioned this to you. It's not about the money. I don't like feeling bad about not being able to help them, but I know that I also cannot, sacrifice so much of my time. So I'm really considering and I think it really helps the organization's awareness on what we do and the importance. So I think I might be creating certain courses for programs that are that they can take during their off time if they really want to learn it, which isn't very demanding on my time. So I think it's really going to help a lot of organizations, and hopefully, they get more funding and
Yeah.
they'll be able to get these things off their plates.
Yes, that's right. I believe that you also mentioned something about writing an ebook in the future. So right now you were
Mhm.
planning on creating an LMS. I'm assuming this is an on-demand, learning system. Am I correct?
Yes. This is also in connection to Access Ed. I've been putting Access Ed off for a very long time because of the different demands of our work. But I think it's really high time that I start working on it. Also, one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I'm writing this ebook, because there is a certain perception that the really good talent, they only come from the bigger cities, and I wanted to put more attention uh, for our online professionals in the provinces, and not just our online professionals, also the businesses that are located in the provinces, because I think that there's really a lot of room for growth,
Yeah.
and they also deserve the attention. So it's I'm starting with that book right now. I'm going to interview different online professionals and discuss the strategies that they do to make working online, even if they're in the province, work for them.
Yeah.
How they make it effective.
Yes, I can remember because I also used to stay in Bataan. Back in the days, 2013, internet connection is really very expensive. For you to get like a 10 Mbps connection, you have to spend like 10,000 pesos a month. And the internet connection is not stable. So those who are newcomers these days that are just starting, they're very lucky because there's more options for connectivity and it's
Very
cheaper.
lucky, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's cheaper right now, and we have backups. Back in the day, there's no backup. Data
Mm.
is really very, very expensive. Nobody
Yes,
can
yeah.
afford it. Yeah, right.
No one gets plans.
Yeah, everyone is just buying load credits.
Yes.
No, um, about the ebook that you were saying, you said you're going to interview because you wanted to um, highlight, those who are starting businesses in the countryside, in the provinces. Um, are you thinking? I mean, are you going to approach them and highlight their stories per se, or are you gonna put all of these stories together? Not just one story, but a lot of stories that you're going to put together.
Yeah, so it's more of going to be a compilation. So I'm really excited because they work on different scales as well. So I'm going to interview someone that has a company, but I'm also going to interview just freelancers, and they have different niches, different specializations. So it's more of like feature different stories and then highlight especially the parts that really focus on like the tools that they use, especially their again, it comes out the environment part, especially their use of alternative energy, for
Yeah.
example. Yeah, as backup whenever they get blackouts, because I think employers also need to know uh, that if they hire people from the province, they're not always unreliable, because a lot of them have actually invested a lot of money from their salaries in order to just keep up or make up for certain difficulties that they have in the province.
Yeah, tell me about yours. What's your backup? What's your typical table or setup? looks like?
In Davao, there's not a lot of blackouts, but I have been talking to one of the people that I'm interviewing about setting up. I want my power source for my work area to be completely solar. It's easier that way because it's not that demanding yet. The batteries are quite expensive, so maybe I'm going to start there and then scale up. But my setup at home, I don't really have a permanent setup. I'm okay with a laptop. I know that most online professionals at our level they prefer a lot of monitors, but I'm fine with just my laptop because I like to work outside. So I bring my table in the garden whenever it's hot inside the house and I work from there, or I move to where my pets are when I don't have calls so that I'm with them. Um, so I really work anywhere. I'm the work anywhere kind of girl.
Talking about work, can you please tell us what's a typical day for you, Jess?
Typical day.
Yeah, because I know you work long hours. So just to give them an idea, what's a typical day of a busy online professional is?
Okay. Um, Pre-COVID, my day was really very busy. I didn't mind the longer hours, but since COVID, I was able to realize that people needed some time off. So I've also experienced the cabin fever as well as the problems that people encounter during COVID. Okay, so these days what I do is I wake up earlier than I used to. Uh, I I start my day thinking with my coffee. I think of the things that I'm supposed to do for the day, hoping that I haven't double booked myself for certain things. Um, if I have training, I usually have it in the mornings. And then after that, it's when I catch up on Coffeebot, what they're doing. Um, I start monitoring my other projects. Um, and these days, I try to end by 7 p.m. That's when work stops and I relax. But there are certain times when we end up with 12-hour work days. It's not all the time, Roche, right? And it's usually easier, like I said, when you're working on passion projects. It usually happens on passion projects, the special projects, for example, like with Tayo Alerto, because there's a specific time frame and because there are like donors that we have to be concerned about.
Yes.
We need to give that extra push. We need to give those extra hours, and these are hours that we don't exactly have on our calendars and we don't exactly plan it, but if needed, we do it. But I
Slots
do
need
work
to be
on
open.
weekends. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
slots
also
needs to be
work on the
open.
weekends, not the entire day, but I allot a certain number of hours just to make sure that I'm not very busy on a Monday.
Yeah, yeah, me too. So tell me about the workouts because I know that you're, a very agile person. You work out a lot and you're very conscious about your health, especially right now during the pandemic. So I think that it's also important that people needs to know that despite the heavy schedules that we're having, we also need to keep ourselves healthy. So what are the routines that you're doing?
Okay. So there was a time when I was on a daily workout, so I really allotted 1 hour a day for it. Roche, I did it
Daily?
during, yeah, every day. Sometimes more, it depends if I'm supposed to do cardio, if I'm supposed to do a run. So I I work out for 2 hours sometimes. But on regular days, I do it around 12 noon. And even if it's very hot, you know what the reason is? Because people don't reply to me during 12 because it's
Oh.
lunch break. And so to avoid my anxiety of not receiving any responses, I work out. So that's how I deal with it. Um, it's really a mix. So I like doing yoga because I have a bad back. I've downloaded an app which I'm not going to mention here, but it has a lot of workouts, regular workouts that really scales up. I also do some weights, and yeah, I HIT when I can, but I know that it's hit when I can, but
Uh,
it's very demanding. And but I like running. It allows me to think. So especially when I'm stressed. I told you when I'm
Yeah.
stressed, I tend to run more. Because it's just quiet time. People are not supposed to talk to you when you run because you're also not able to respond. So
Yeah, we
those
will be
things.
trying HIT later tonight. We have a schedule at 7 p.m. So it will be my first time. So tell me about HIT.
It uh I only do it a few minutes because my lungs can't handle
Can't
it.
handle it.
Yeah. So I don't do it all of the time. Only when I need to lose weight fast, like I have a certain goal. Because when we did face-to-face training, there was a lot of food. You had breakfast, you had
Yeah.
merienda after that, and lunch, and then merienda, and then I have a dinner. So I gained a lot of weight. Um, Lately I haven't been able to work out n- um anymore, but it's really marked on my calendar. I'm really supposed to go back to working out already.
Yeah, I talked to this coach before. She used to be a guest in my podcast, and she said that if you are looking for something that you will be doing for a long time to keep yourself healthy, you have to find that the design, or what do you call it, the kind of workout that works for you, the kind of workout that you
Mhm.
enjoy. Otherwise, you'll end up not doing it because you get bored or you get tired doing
Yeah. Yeah, so there are certain workout routines on my app that I really don't do because I did try them, but I end up getting bored. So I like weights. Weights are fun,
it.
Rose.
Yeah,
We
me
should.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, you like it? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I enjoy doing weights.
Yeah, aside from boxing, weights is really something that I really
And I
enjoy a
like
lot.
seeing the muscles after whenever I look
Yeah.
very toned.
And it really challenges you when you were able to, lift up a
Yeah.
certain
You
weight.
slowly increase your weight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. So HIT, by the way, for those who doesn't know what HIT is, it's high intensive training. It's a special designed workouts if you wanted to, let's say, cut the abs or something, if you have
Yeah.
a certain muscle areas that you wanted to build. Now let's go back to Jessica's passion. You said earlier that back in the days there was no label. It's like a relationship was unlabeled. So sad. But now that it has been labeled to, like, what you're passionate about and you get paid doing it, other people were saying that um there's a group of people that is just what do they call it, romanticizing the term passion. What can you say about that?
Yeah. I think it's so true. Um, One of the signs that you're just romanticizing passions is that you never stick to something because you end up you say that you're just not happy doing it. I really believe that passion, it's also you're not born with passions.
Yeah.
It's a build up because of exposure. So I think the reason why advocacy is, it's one of my passions, because unconsciously I was picking up a lot from my family. So it's part of our discussions, what's happening to the community, so what do they need and what are the proper responses for it, what's the right strategy, what are they doing wrong during dinner. And I didn't realize that I enjoyed talking about it. Same case with my work. That's why I work very hard, you and I. It's not because we want to be millionaires, although the money helps, but we love doing what we do. And even when we are supposedly having fun, we're watching a film or just browsing Facebook, and we see something that's related to work, we get excited, as excited as they would maybe when they see new shoes, or
Seen a
if
new
they love
movie.
shoes, yeah, or see the trailer in a movie. We're also very excited to try those experiments, to make content similar to that, or I don't know, to learn something related to it. So, passions, they grow inside you. You're not it's not like relationships. You're supposed to work on it. Right? That's why it lasts. It's the same case with passion. If you don't exert your time, if you don't invest time on it, it's really not going to become your passion.
Yeah.
And on the other side, people who are too passionate about things, um, discarding realities, is also bad. It's also romanticizing. So, like I said, you cannot work forever on nothing. There has to be something. You can't. yes, you can get volunteers. There are a lot of people who are willing to volunteer their time, but it's time. You're what are you going to do when lunchtime comes? You can't expect them to also spend their own money.
Yes.
You should at least feed them.
They
And
need to be rewarded.
yeah, yes, and food, you're supposed to pay for it. So there are certain realities that they don't understand just because they run on passion. They don't understand the management, the fundraising, all of those things that go behind every organization and every advocacy. So it's great to start even if you're starting from zero with no money at all. But if you want it to be sustainable, some projects are very lucky where, it just comes to them. But if you're not like them, then you're supposed to put in the work in order to be able to provide for that advocacy. And yeah, I think because of my background, it's the reason why I understand the reality behind the passion.
Yes, that's right. And while most people are getting paid, or while some people are getting paid doing what they love, some people are just not as lucky as others. So,
Yes.
I think sticking with your day job or sticking with what pays the bills is okay, and then just do the passion on
Yeah.
the side. The things that you love doing, do it
Yes,
on the side until you get paid
exactly.
doing it.
Yeah, I get a lot of applicants, or like my new employees are very young and they say, you know, I can't continue working because it's just not my passion. Well, your passions, you can always do them on the side. You have to make sure that there's food on the table. Nothing's stopping you. No one's stopping you from spending your extra hours somewhere. If you need the job, you're supposed to work. If you're lucky
Yes.
enough to be rich and, just spend your time on passions, go ahead. But yeah, work isn't life. So you can work and also have passions on the side, right? Not everyone who's passionate about music are professional musicians.
Yes.
Some of them just play their music after work. So it's also the same case if we're talking about advocacies as passion.
And you have to really stay long enough in what you're passionate about before you can get known in the industry, because you're building your name, you're building
Yes.
authority, you're building portfolio. Maybe they want to know what is the ideal time allotment that you need to allot in a certain project if it's a passion project, without having to sacrifice your day job.
Um, I think it's on a case-to-case basis. I think for the younger people, all of their waking hours, it doesn't really matter because I know they usually live with their parents, someone cooks for them, someone cleans their house for them, so it's okay. And even if it's not all of their waking hours, even if they um, wake up or stay awake longer for those passion projects, I still think it's fine. So it's really on a case-to-case basis. And when I was younger, I didn't mind losing sleep over the projects that
Yeah.
I was doing.
Hmm.
So it's also the same case for you. I think you just have to take, if you really want to do it, if eventually you feel like, I wish I had the job that was related to this because I really love doing this, if that's what you want, then make sure that you start documenting. You start networking. Because even if I documented this project, but I didn't build my network, I didn't add Lindsay, for example, the consultant who got us. If I didn't add her on LinkedIn, I wouldn't be able to remember that, hey, I worked with you before. Okay, so you should really invest on meeting people, even if you say that um, you're not comfortable or you're an introvert. It's still very important. It's required for your advocacy. It's required for your passion, to connect with like-minded people, because eventually they won't just be colleagues in your advocacy. They might throw projects at, they might hire you, they might give you, I don't know, something that helps you earn from your passion.
Yeah, you mentioned being an introvert. I know you mentioned before that you are an introvert person, and I said, no way.
I
Can you
guess I'm an
please
ambivert.
explain that?
I guess I'm more of an ambivert. I'm very talkative when I'm with people that I, you just click. Even if you've met only once, you think that that person is your friend, even if it was just a one-time meeting, or even if it's just an online meeting, like, right, Roche? Like, we've
Yeah.
met in person before, but we've never really talked. And then
Yeah, yeah.
when we started our Chica Chica online, that's when we realized that, hey, I like this person. So I'm like that. I'm very, very talkative with my friends, but I tend to be awkward in social situations. I can also talk a lot whenever I serve a certain function, like what I said, when I'm supposed to network because I'm representing this project or that program, or I'm supposed to get the support of the people in the room, then I'll be able to go around, introduce myself, and talk about what I'm passionate about or what I would like them to do. But if you put me in a party and say, enjoy, I get stressed and I end up wanting to go home or sitting in a corner, choosing just one person to talk to. So I'm that kind of person.
See, it doesn't show. So, meaning when we give you a certain hat, you are going to wear that hat effectively.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
when you're just, being yourself,
When there are
you're
no
not,
hats.
yeah, no hats. So you're also not comfortable talking to, strangers.
Yeah. Because I know that I'm quite strange. I know I have my quirks. My personality, my interests are very, very different from the interests of the majority. So I feel like it's very difficult for me to relate to what they like. Not because, not, I'm not saying that I'm special. It's just that my interests are just strange. And
Jeez.
that's why it's so difficult to share it with others because I know they're probably not interested in it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You've shared a lot. And I know that whoever will be listening or watching this podcast episode will also learn a lot about how they're going to transform their passion into paid projects. Is there anything else that you wanted to give, advice to the audience who are like you when you were starting? You just do whatever you like, and then you're
Mhm.
building portfolio unknowingly and didn't realize that it will become, the source of a network or the source of, client. It will attract clients in the future. What can you advise
Mhm.
to them?
Um, I know that we're talking about advocacies here, but I wanted to clarify that it's not limited to advocacies. If you're passionate about baking, if you're passionate about something else, it's also applicable. So the most important thing that you can do if you really want to convert your passion into something that earns is you document it and you share it with others. So take a photo of your cake, take a video of you baking, talk about your plans, talk about your pets, whatever it is that you're passionate about, whether it's an advocacy or whether it's your pets or plants or baking, cooking, dressmaking, crocheting, whatever. Document it, share it with others, because you will find people who are interested, and not just interested, but are willing to pay for whatever it is you have to offer, especially if you're passionate about that thing. So, just continue, find your time where you can do your passion and make sure that you document it and share it online.
Yes, and they don't have to start from a website. There are free
Yes.
websites. They can go check out Strikingly or Wix, but they can also just start, using their social media pages, create a
Yeah, their
Facebook page,
profiles. Hmm.
create
Yeah,
videos.
even if it's just their profiles, because remember, your first
Yeah.
customers will always be your friends and family. I know
Yes.
some of them have bad reputations where they ask for free things, but there are also a lot who are willing to support you in your passion.
That's right. That's right. I agree. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tess, and I hope we can do this again soon because I really enjoyed a lot, and I'm sure the viewers, the listeners, will also enjoy and learn a lot from this episode. Thank you so much, everyone. For those who are listening or watching this episode, if you have some takeaways, feel free to comment down below on what are the experiences, what are the realizations that you had during this episode. Share it to us so that other people would know, how effective this episode is. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again on our next episode here at the Passion and Purpose podcast. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Passion and Purpose podcast. Join us next week for another inspiring adventures.